I walked into that take, but now I have to ride with it because it was so fucking wild.
You can call it a college offense all you want, but what these and like no, there's no knock on nobody here, but
Get ready. Class is about to begin with green white dudes coming at you with some heat. Welcome to School of Hot Takes.
Welcome back to another episode of the School of Hot Takes. This is a special episode. Of course, I'm joined here by Mitch and Brian already, but we also have a guest here with us. This is Coach Terrence. Coach Terrence comes with us all the way back from when we used to do high school track and cross country. So that was quite a few years ago, but he was our coach. And then through that, we got him to join our fantasy football chat and our fantasy football league. That was about 9 years ago, and he's stuck with us ever since. So we kind of just, kind of drug him along with us, and he's kind of loved doing this stuff. He's also a huge Commanders fan, which is really nice for us because we have a lot of Steelers fans. We don't get a lot of other perspectives from other teams. So we decided to ask him to come on, and this episode is really all about the Commanders. So hello, Terrence. How are you?
hey, what's up, boys? Been a minute. Doing great. Can't wait to talk about the Commanders here, boys.
Before we get going, please make sure to subscribe, like all of our videos. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a TikTok we're doing a bunch on. We also have a couple YouTube shorts we're also doing, and then just some short form videos. So make sure to like those, give them a look, and subscribe to our channel. All right, let's get into it, fellas.
3 teams from the NFC South are going to make the playoffs this year. It is happening. At the beginning of the season, it looked like that might be the weakest division, but I think it has persuaded everyone otherwise. The 3 teams in question are going to be the Falcons, Buccaneers, and Saints, of course. But yeah, I think all 3 are going to get into the playoffs, one of them being the 5 seed and one being the 7 seed. And obviously the winner being in the top 4. But that is my hot take of the week, and I think it's a pretty good one.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brian doesn't.
I don't know. I disagree. I think Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback right now, man, unfortunately. And I know, again, I'm saying this a couple days after he had a phenomenal performance on Monday Night Football, but I just think he's a little bit too inconsistent. He's old. He's got no Achilles as far as I'm concerned.
This is his last ride, though. He's going out with a bang.
Yeah, except there's a shitload of money for a last ride. I don't really know, man. I don't feel very confident in the Falcons. I would honestly, if I had to bet right now, I would say Saints and Bucks both have a better shot. But hey, it could happen.
Hey, wait, you think all 3 of them? You think all 3 of them are going to the playoffs, right? Is that what you said?
Yep, all 3. I think the Bucks will probably win the division, but I think between the Falcons and the Saints, one of them will get like the 5 seed, and then the other is going to get the last spot at number 7.
What do you think about that, Terrence, as a fellow NFC fan?
I mean, I'm not going to hate on it too much. Wife's a diehard Who Dat fan, so I got to give Saints some love just because, that's my other half. I think the Saints will get it together, I think, here in a second. I don't know, man. I can't see 3. I mean, the NFC East, which we'll talk about here in a second, I think you got a solid division there, too, that we got to think about. So I don't think it's bad, but...
At least I appreciate some love.
Yeah.
The NFC West is really good, too. Cardinals look good. 49ers look good. Seahawks look good. I don't know.
49ers.
It's still a long season. Don't get me wrong. But based on how it's looking right now, I think it's a pretty good take.
All right. I'm going to go here next. As always, I've got a couple of takes that I kind of wanted to get off, but I'm going to go with this one here. Right now, I would take Joe Flacco over Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
I think Joe Flacco has looked better in his 2 starts this season. I guess last week he didn't start technically, but I think Joe Flacco has looked better in these 2 games that he's played this year than Aaron Rodgers has looked all season. Aaron Rodgers looked like he was playing hurt. It was the first time in his career that Aaron Rodgers threw 2 interceptions in the first half of a game ever. He just doesn't look like himself. He got out-coached and outplayed by the Vikings defense overall. He was forced to do too much, and then you turn around and look at the other side, and Joe Flacco has looked really good against the Steelers defense his first week, and then this week he looked pretty good. And not only that, but he had an amazing run, and this will be something maybe Brandon can throw into post here, but Joe Flacco had an amazing 30-yard run.
I can see that.
He's only 1 year younger than Aaron Rodgers. I think he's able to pick apart these great defenses a little bit better. He's a little bit more mobile somehow. I think they gotta release the white dragon in Joe Flacco and let him ride.
Real quick, did you guys see the clip of Aaron Rodgers like on the sideline, like crawling back to the bench?
Yeah.
That was so funny.
I mean, the guy's 40 years old. He got rocked. So,
I know, but
Yeah.
It's rough. I mean, what do you think, Joe Flacco? Yay or nay?
I actually really
I
like that take.
I like
love
that.
take. I think that's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of your best takes yet
Wow.
this year. I'm
I-
serious. I think that's really good. I didn't even think about it. Like, I didn't even think about that, but the more you say it, the more I'm just like, yeah, you know what? Aaron has looked pretty washed up, and Joe Flacco, honestly, yeah, he picked apart Steelers defense. We're top 5 defense,
Mhm.
easy. And then, yeah, even last week he looked really confident. He looked good. So, like, yeah, I'm totally for that. I'm all in.
Say it, man. It hurts me to say it. I hate the guy, but got to do what you got. It's true.
Yep, the White Dragon.
All right, Joe, how about you? Hot take.
You know, it's bringing me great joy right now to watch the 49ers just sputter and just fucking suck. I'm really loving it. They have a losing record right now. I don't know if anyone knew that, but they do. And I'm really enjoying it. It's not really, I mean, it might be a hot take. I think that they're going to win less than double digit wins. So I think they're going to have less than 10 wins. I'm feeling pretty confident in that. I'm thinking they're going to sit right around 8 or 9 wins, especially if CMC doesn't come back. I just think they just look all out of sorts. I don't know what it is. One, I think they've got an aging defense. For some reason, it doesn't look like they're anywhere where they were last year. And then obviously we have Brock Purdy not looking quite up to it when he doesn't have all of his Avengers. I wonder who's always said that. I don't know. 2 people
Hey,
in the
hey,
podcast
listen
have always
though,
said that.
haven't you always been saying no matter who is on that team, they're still going to perform at an A+ level? And look at what's happened.
I mean, their running back is number 1 in the. He is number 1 in the league. So yeah, I
You were
think it's
saying
still
that
right.
for all their receivers and quarterbacks and anything like that. And look who's all
Yeah.
hurt now, and now they're not performing at an A+ level.
They have CMC is the only one that's hurt. Everyone else is back, and they're not winning. That was the whole
Debo
point.
just came back last week, I think.
Yeah, and they
Or he's
lost.
coming back this week.
They lost to a bottom 5 Cardinals defense, Mitch. That's the point.
I am not going to say what my take on the Niners was before, because I also think that they are not down and out yet. I disagree with the take a little bit. And also, this is a game where Brandon Ayuk went the fuck off. Had like 11 catches for over 150 yards.
Mhm.
He's amazing. If there's anything to take away from this game is that Jake Moody, the 49ers kicker, is a bigger weapon than we suspected, because I think if the kicker doesn't get hurt, I think that they do win this game.
Probably, but they got a losing record, baby, and I'm all for it.
I don't know if you saw the 49ers are like trying out 5 new kickers or something this week just to make sure they have someone for the rest of the season if they have to.
Yeah.
Is he hurt like bad, like seriously injured?
It looked bad. I don't know how bad it is though. It looked bad.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was long term. All right, yeah, that's going to be my hot take. I wanted to say they'll miss the playoffs, but I just don't. I don't think they'll miss the playoffs. I really want them to, though.
Let's look at that. Let's look at them go.
I would want nothing more than to go.
All right, Joe Flacco, here we go, baby.
Look at them wheels, bro. Look at them. Tuck it. Ooh, get them flying.
I love how slow motion it looks.
39-year-old showing
That was
the
my
wheels.
loudest
He
smile.
runs
Oh
for
my God.
21.
A smile on his face the whole time he's running. I love
Here they come again. Flacco
Having a
climbs the
ball.
pocket.
It is
Flacco's
great.
gonna run for
He
it.
literally looks so slow.
Using his legs.
Yeah, that's right. Look
Joe
how slow.
Flacco, the 39-year-old showing the wheels. He runs for 21 and a
21. I was saying,
21.
I mean, he's
not
more mobile than Aaron Rodgers, and I'll rest my case. He's more mobile.
100%.
It was so great. All right, Green, do you have a hot take for us at all?
Yeah, since I'm a special guest, I got 2 for you. Okay, I got 2.
All right.
Okay, I'll start the second one. The first one, since we're on the subject, the Commanders are the real deal. NFC contenders. Put it out there right now. And hey, look, you already know, y'all know how I am. We've been waiting a long time to get back to this. And you can't deny it, boys. Out of 5 weeks, like Jaden Daniels is.
They look good.
Like, honestly, that could be a take in itself that Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback out of this draft class, hands down. I mean, that could be a take in itself. But
Yeah.
the Commanders, I mean, I knew the defense, as you all know, the first 4 weeks is basically like getting the reps in, getting used to each other because a lot of those
Mhm.
guys are on OTAs and whatnot. But like seeing our defense finally, like that's that DQ type defense. John Wade over there calling the plays like he was with DQ in Dallas. Like it's starting, the defense is starting to come together. Our additions, what we'll talk about later, like the additions we had, those off season additions have been key. But I'm saying it right here: the Commanders are the NFC like they're a contender. I'm not going to say Super Bowl. I'm on pump the brakes, but they're a contender. I mean, I think for the division and also within the NFC. I say
Mhm.
right now. I mean, you can't argue. I'd say they're behind the Vikings, so they're undefeated. Probably the second best in the NFC right now.
Definitely
Yeah.
agree there.
And then my second take, which this one is definitely a hot take, and I'm calling this right now, and y'all might think I'm crazy. Devontae Adams is coming to the Commanders.
Commanders. Ooh.
Watch
Ooh,
it. Watch it. Watch it.
I'm here for it. I would love that.
I'm just saying. I mean,
It
I
could
know
have
it
been a
sounds
little
crazy.
misdirect there with the Edgar Allan Poe thing on his Instagram.
Yeah,
Since Baltimore and Commanders are so close there, I mean,
for sure. I mean, just when what I've been researching and reading, I mean, it's not.
Do you guys
So
have the
it's
cap
just.
space? Do the
Oh my God,
Commanders
we have the
have the
most
cap
cap. Yeah,
space?
we got the most cap space right now. We got like 40, like almost 40 million
Yeah.
or something. Like we lead the league in cap space.
Oh damn! Oh yeah, you guys would be good.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, that's my take. Like I think I'll put it like, I mean, just like I've been like the dark horse. Commanders are a dark horse that not many people are thinking about because we got a young core. But don't be surprised if we make a move because we're in win now mode. So
hey,
just
I
watch
mean,
out for it.
wouldn't be a bad move, honestly. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, the receiving core right now for the Commanders is good. I mean, they've been playing well, but I mean,
Yeah.
even having Devontae Adams there is just going to improve it even
Oh yeah.
more.
I
And just
think for him, he needs a quarterback. I mean, Jane
Right.
Daniels, you got a young rookie that can get him the ball in those out routes and like separate
Mhm.
the defense in the back half. And that's what he needs because you think about it, ever since he left A Rod, he's had besides D Carr, which obviously that breakup we all know was not, that was a crappy breakup.
Yeah.
But he needs a quarterback. And I just can't see him going to the Jets though, fellas. I mean, you
Mm.
really want to go with A Rod for a year? Your boy ain't gonna be there. Sorry, that Hackett offense is trash, bro. That
Yeah.
is just trash.
He
yeah,
might just
we
get
talked.
more frustrated there.
We
Correct.
have my kind of so this is a perfect segue into what my second hot take was, which is that Devontae Adams, the best fit for him is the Buffalo Bills. Just to kind of
Okay.
quickly touch on that, I think yesterday watching Josh Allen go 9 for 30 was terrible. He targeted, like, his big target was Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins had like
Yeah.
catastrophic drops yesterday. I think
Mhm.
Devontae Adams, you put him in that position and he feasts. So I think that is my preferred destination for him. Obviously, we're talking Commanders, Bills. These are not names that are probably, but I think the best fit for Devontae is definitely in Buffalo. I think the Commanders could use him too. They need a veteran presence, especially if they're going to go on a little playoff run. They need somebody there who's kind of been around the league a little bit to show everybody how it's done. So I like
For
that
sure.
take.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw this at you too, while I gotta again give my wife some love. What about that reunion with D Carr? Going back to NOLA. I mean, him and
I,
him and Chris Olave on the outside. I mean, that gives him the
I
stretch
I
guy.
feel like Devontae Adams right now is more in that mindset, like I have to win and get my ring now, and like you said, Commanders are going to be contenders, and that might be his best shot at the moment. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but
I would
I don't
argue
know,
he's
Mitch.
not.
The Saints though. I don't know. I'm gonna give the Saints love for real because
no,
I
not that
think
the
they are a
Saints are
contender.
bad, but I mean, I think it'd be a harder road for him to make it to any sort of championship or Super Bowl type deal with the Saints at the moment compared to the
Yeah,
Commanders.
yeah,
I think they have as good of a chance as the Jets if that's what we're talking about. Though. Like,
yeah. You're
Yeah,
true.
that's what I would argue that he doesn't really want to win because if his top two are the Saints and Jets, like out of anyone he could have chose, I don't feel like that's setting him up to win. You know what I mean? Like that's setting up one for stats and one to go like circle jerk Aaron Rodgers a little bit more. Which, why do we need to do that?
Yeah, but I think for him though, he wants to be in a. You look at the Saints with Kubiak's offense. You look
Mhm.
at the
Yeah.
Commanders with Cliff. I mean, that's a spread offense both ways where he's going to get the rock. I mean, it's not like you're not going to get him the ball. I mean, I like that Bills take though, Snook, but I'm like, I don't know if Joe Brady knows how to use that man though.
Right.
That's the only thing though. I mean, look, no offense, look what he did with Diggs. I get Diggs as a prima donna, but like he really couldn't use him. I mean, look at Gabe Davis was honestly their best receiver. If you really look at the season, Gabe Davis was their best receiver last year.
Right.
Right. Yeah, Josh Allen needs help. Maybe the best help would just be to fire Joe Brady. You're right.
Yeah,
I like what Joe Brady's done though. Besides this last 2 game stretch,
yeah,
at the end of
for
last year,
sure.
he looked pretty solid, and the first 3 games. But I think the Bills have always been like the September champions. I feel like they always come out every single September looking like unstoppable, and then I don't know what happens in October. They always kind of just drop the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on. Someone transition is better than I just did, but let's do it.
No, I like it. I like a good cold transition. All right, we're moving on now. Well, now I
oh
guess we
yeah,
got to get into the real meat and potatoes here in our long form talk on the Commanders. With
Mhm.
are they really good, Green? Are they really good?
yeah. I mean, boys, have you watched 5 weeks of football? I mean, I look again, and this, yeah, you can, like you said, y'all know, I've been a diehard from day one, and it's been a long time coming. I mean, just the excitement, even from like week one, and like, trust me, we were all reserved about it because, like, oh, here we go. But I'm telling you, like, not to get off kilter, but the change in ownership was the key in this whole thing. Like, it has nothing, like, the players are doing great, but
Mhm.
what us just getting Dan Snyder out of there, like, that just changed the whole mindset of us as fans, like diehard Redskins fans, like that's all we wanted. And now we're seeing that because we got a winner in Josh Harris, who's got the people around him, like a Magic Johnson, and people that want to win. And you're seeing a product now on the field. And I think what is really the sleeper on this whole thing that no one's really talking about with the Commanders, like the time they took to hire a head coach. Like, don't get me wrong, they went out for Ben Johnson because he was the hot commodity. You know how it is. Like, he was hot
Mhm.
right now. Offense was booming. But when that slid through and fell through, excuse me, like they took their time. And everything you read about DQ, Dan Quinn, for those that don't know, like he's a great dude. Like he's a great coach. Everything is like all the like even the Dallas guys and like Seattle, they love him. I think that was really like the story of the season. Is just that was the biggest offseason hire for us. But like I would say, the story of the all season was getting DQ because he's a guy that's done it before with the Falcons. He's been there. I mean, no, you got like what coach goes out and hires his own firm to
Right.
evaluate his mistakes? Like this man's about business. He's like, oh, what did I do wrong to get better? And like I think for the locker room, these guys like, yo, this guy's a winner. Look what he did with the Cowboys defense. Look what he did to the Legion of Boom in Seattle, even as a head coach. And I think for him, it's just, you really can see it with the guys. Like you know, I got Red Zone. I can't watch them every game, but just seeing the difference in how the team plays offensively, defensively, just again, like watching the videos after the game and just the hype we have now. And I would say, yeah, the Commanders are the real deal. And then, like I tell people, and my kids mess with me all the time at school. I'm like, hey, I'm not getting too hype about it. Yeah, we're 4-1. But it's
Mhm.
time for people to put some respect on it, though. Like you got to respect what we're doing. You can't say we've been playing trash teams. That's the thing. That you can't say we've been playing trash. Like we beat some good teams. Like I know Cleveland, whatever, with Deshaun and all that stuff. But like their defense is usually a top 5 defense.
Mhm.
The Cardinals, I know like they're bad this year, but that's usually a solid defense. We lit them up. So it's respectable. Again, we're not playing the Browns every week or the Jags and stuff. So I think it's about time people put some respect on it. I think the Commanders are a real deal this year.
I kind of have
Facts.
to agree. I'm definitely on the Commanders' boat so far for this year. I think I even said last episode they're going to win the NFC, like the number one seed, basically be the best team in the NFC by the end of the year. I'm just interested to see if they can keep this momentum and how they'll how well they'll do against like stronger teams. I mean, next week they play the Ravens, and other stronger teams throughout later in the year. So it's not that they had a terribly weak start to their schedule, but I'm wondering if they can keep that up against these stronger opponents.
Yeah,
I agree. Go ahead, big dog.
I was going to say, Battle of the DMV that's going to be a real test for Jaden Daniels. If he can come and outplay Lamar Jackson at Lamar Jackson's own game, being a mobile deep threat guy, I think that's going to go a long way. I'm currently living here in the DMV, and
Mhm.
so it, what's really interesting is to kind of see all the Ravens fans become Commanders fans here the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a really big game for Jaden Daniels' rookie year. It's a big game.
Mhm.
I'm really excited for this week. I think I am going to hold all Washington Commanders judgment until after this week, honestly. If they can go against the Ravens and hold their own, I think that, like I said, that goes a long way.
Well, I think even if they lose against the Ravens, as long as they put up a really, really good showing, I think there's still going to be like high praise about the team, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like, since I know Dill, you want to start. My bad, Dill. Like I know people don't understand how big that Battle of the Beltway is. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I obviously I grew up outside of Philly, but like that is like huge. We haven't played Baltimore in years during the regular season. We always get them in the preseason and stuff. But that Battle of the Beltway, like in the first time in a while, actually has meaning because let's be honest, the Ravens have been owning us ever since they got Lamar. Even before that, when Trent Dilfer was there on those Super Bowl runs and whatnot. I mean, so this is. I mean, the DMV is popping, man. Like, I mean, I know Snooki knows because he's living in it, but like like he can probably tell you right now, like the Redskins and the Commanders talk is like it's real, man. That like the game. I don't know if you guys watched it all, but just like the vibe in that game. I don't know if
Oh,
you guys recall. Like, I forget. I was listening to it on the way home. My son has football on Sundays. We got back from our game, but I forget it was like the fourth quarter, or whatever, and the crowd caused the Browns to call a timeout. That has not happened in ages.
Mhm.
That's how loud that place was. Don't get me wrong, FedEx is not the nicest stadium at all. But like
yeah.
the fact that we had that many people out there booming and just excited, I'm telling
Mhm.
you, man, like, and I agree with you, Mitch. Like if they put up a good fight, which I honestly, boys, they should. Like, don't get me like we beat Cincinnati on Monday night. That's a high profile offense. Obviously, the Ravens are the same, and if our defense comes to play, I mean, we've been holding teams under 10 points, 10 or less, except for whatever we gave up last week. But
Right.
I think it's going to be a much better game than people think. I think it's going to be high scoring, honestly. I don't
Mhm.
think the Ravens are going to be able to slow down Cliff Kingsbury in that offense. So I can see it being like that Ravens and Bills this last weekend. Or not the Bills, sorry, Ravens and Bengals this past weekend. I
Yeah,
can see it
Right.
being like that.
absolutely. All right.
Uh, that's what that was honestly what I was going to talk about is what kind of game do you think we need to see from the Commanders to be like, all right, they're legit. Like, let's say they lose, but maybe they lose by a field goal and it's a good game. Like, is that enough? And I would think, yeah. I was just really trying to think of what kind of game they'd have to have for us to be like, oh, no, we're out. Like, maybe the hype wasn't good enough. Like, would it take a kind of like the Ravens did to the Bills, like just a blowout, 20-point win? Would that kind of like really cool this train down of the Commanders, or would people still be like, nah, that don't matter. Nope, we're good. What do you think?
Um, I think, I mean, honestly, they got like the offenses look great these past 3 weeks. I think if they can score against that defense, I think that'll be enough. Like, I get it. Like, I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to pick the Commanders over the Ravens. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's Derrick Henry and Lamar. Like, even me as a fan, like, I'm not going to do. I'm not making that bet. I'm not
Mhm.
stupid. But I'll take the line if the line's under 2.5. Like, if the line's at three and a
It's
half,
six
I'm taking
points.
it. Is
It's
it six
six
right
right
now?
now.
I'm
Six
taking
Yeah.
point
that.
spread.
Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, hey, I'm putting in the
Yes.
prop right there. Here we go. Little plug. I'm taking that line at 6. I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, I'm taking it.
That's really what I was getting at there. Yeah, because I also saw the
Yeah.
6, and I was like, I feel like I should take that. Commanders by
Yeah.
6. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, it is. I agree with that. That's crazy to give a touchdown, but I agree. I think they got to score, and I think that defense has to continue that momentum. I mean, let's see. Let's look at the quarterbacks they kind of contained. Like Joe Burrow, they really didn't. Like, bro, he diced us up. We just made enough plays offensively.
Mhm.
Kyler, like, I mean, come on, guys. We held Kyler to 12 yards rushing, maybe 8. He had one
Yeah.
rush. And then obviously Deshaun Watson's not the same Deshaun Watson, but we sacked him 7 times. So if they can keep Lamar in the pocket, contain him, obviously, King Henry, that's a whole different beast. But what I do like is our backers this year. We got Bobby Wagner, Frankie Lulu back there. We got big guys that can lay lumber. So if they can contain Lamar and contain King Henry, but just like with us all the time is our secondary. Yeah, I can see Zay Flowers dicing us up because that's just our secondary's trash. I'll keep it honest. Like it's not good. So I see Zay Flowers probably having a big game, but I think run stopping, man, we've been phenomenal in the run stop this year. I'm not sure where we rank. I don't have the stats in front of me, But I think in the past several weeks, the Commanders have to be top 10 defense overall. Like, I don't know what passers, if you guys got the stats in front of you or not, but they got to be up there for the past several weeks in terms of defense, offense.
I mean, that's a good recipe against the Ravens too. Is like if you get up on the Ravens, that kind of neutralizes the give it to Henry 30 times a game kind of. Like I feel like that's what you have to do against them is get up maybe 10 points so they can't just hand the ball off every time. And the Commanders have such a high-powered offense. Like I really do feel like they could at least keep this interesting or absolutely pull an upset. Like I don't feel like this is some like landslide victory for the Ravens for sure.
No, I think it will be closer than people think. And go ahead, Snook.
I was gonna say if we wanted to just jump in real quick on defense, in terms of their defensive ranking, they're like 20th in points per game and 14th in yards per game. So I think this is a case of the Commanders. The best defense is a good offense. I think.
Yeah, right. I'm with. No, I agree. I agree with that. I think also the Dylan's point, like for us, is just like that running game still being potent, man. Like B Rob is looking different right now. He was hurt. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna play, but they came and played like, and then your boy Eckler Snook, like he looking nice out here. And even like, and I know we got a segment here later for like who do we miss? Like I know that's next, but like Jeremy McNichols, dog, I'm telling you, that was a sleeper joint that no one saw coming, but Jeremy McNichols has been cooking. So I think if our run game stays like it's been, like, and that's what's been great about Cliff. I mean, if you look at Cliff's offenses, for you guys know this, like it's always been a top 5 offense, even when he had Kyler, like even with James, like James was always over 1,000. Like Cliff likes to run the ball. So that sets up that play action, sets up those quick routes, sets up that 30-yard, 30-yard bomb to Terry. I think if we get the run game going and we can, really hold that defense true for the Ravens, I think you're going to have a battle. And I mean, who knows? It might be a defensive game, boys. I mean, it might be a 17-13 game. I don't know if it'll be in the 30s. I just feel like, the NFL is going that way where even when you have two good defenses, I mean, you're still going to put up points. I just can't see I can't see that game being like over under. I can't see it being under like 40. It's definitely got to be over 40 in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, and what's great about this, I know I'm like, as we're running it, this is from the Bengals joint. I thought you had from Sunday, Brandon, but this is dope though. I mean, that's on a dime.
It was like a literally perfect pass, like right into
perfect throw.
Yeah, it can't get much better.
But even the one yesterday, I don't know if you guys remember, like he was scrambling out on the pressure pocket flush, and like on the moving to his right, literally just on his right 2-step, and like T Mac, he got tripped up, but he would have scored on it. But I mean, come on, man, this guy's a rookie, like doing stuff like that, like his decision making. And that's what guys don't like. People don't understand that Jaden Daniels really he had over. I mean, someone can quote me on it, but I think over like 100-something games in college. Like the kid played 5 years. Like he started at A-State, like Arizona State, then he came to LSU. But like the dude is not your typical rookie quarterback. Like it's a grown man out here playing amongst boys, and it's great to see. Like because you know our situation. I think the Redskins were second to the Browns, or actually we might be first in the most starting quarterbacks we've had in the past like 20 years in rotation. So and everybody had the comparison just the next RG3. And I'm like, I didn't feel that way just because of the ownership. Like they weren't gonna make that move up number one to get Caleb. Because everybody was talking about Caleb and Cliff. Like, nah, like Jaden Daniels is the best in the game right now. All you heard is run that boy.
Yeah,
look at this flush.
His scrambling ability,
on the run. Like, come on, guys! Like it's a dime.
His ability to scramble in that situation is it's almost next level for a rookie. Like
video game.
You don't see somebody doing that.
Look, right there, he done. Look at on the boom. Oh, that's some Lamar Jackson stuff right there, Snook.
Right, yeah. And you think he'd hit the lower out route right there instead of going deep like that. But I mean,
look at the dime, and like I said, he got tripped up on that. But, oh yeah.
It's a testament. I mean, Terry McLaurin has been one of the most underrated receivers in football since he's gotten
100%.
Preach, Snook. Preach.
It's a testament to his, and he's able to get open on a play like that too. But yeah, bro.
So Brian, are you ready? Are you ready to walk back your take, Brian, of Jaden Daniels being the next Jameis Winston? Or are you going to walk that back now?
Oh, what? That man, he said that? Oh, snap.
Yeah, that was his original take for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Oh,
Not
nuts.
I don't know when we wanted to get into this, but I do have some play because I will not back down on that take just yet.
Ah,
I don't know. Do we want to get into this right now? Because I do have some things to say. So first of all, I want to say, yes, Terrence. My original take was that my scouting on Jaden Daniels, I kind of thought that he was going to translate into the NFL as kind of a Jameis Winston. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but he's also going to throw a lot of touchdowns. So 30 for 30, what I was thinking. I was like, oh, he's probably going to rush, have like he's going to be a better Justin Fields, I think is what I call him. Like,
okay.
not super accurate, but he's going to have the big plays. And I mean, I do have to admit, like, that might be
how
one of
accurate.
the of all time because he had the highest completion percentage through 4 games of any ever,
Ever.
which is insane. However, I will not concede more than this because what I will also say is, as much as we don't like to admit it, Cam Taylor-Britt was right. I do think that they are making things easy for Jaden Daniels right now.
Oh.
I think Jaden Daniels is able to have those big plays. We just saw an awesome, like, out of pocket throw that he had. But I think through the first 4 weeks, Jaden Daniels has been very much like, I'm going to hit the easy stuff. I'm hitting slants. I'm hitting curls. Go for that deep pass when you have it open for the fastest receiver in the NFC right now. Absolutely. But I still think they're kind of keeping the offense easy. And we see this happen with the Cliff Kingsbury offense. We've seen it happen before, and we get excited about it when it happens. We saw it happen with Kyler Murray. Through 8 games in the season, Kyler Murray looks like a god under Cliff Kingsbury. And then it kind of starts to slow down as teams start to catch up and start understanding what's going on. So that's why I'm saying I need to temper my expectations because I've been hurt by the Cliff Kingsbury offense before. And I think, like I said, Cam Taylor-Britt was right. They're not having Jaden Daniels do a whole lot of crazy Patrick Mahomes stuff. They're not drawing up a bunch of exotic plays, or they're not treating him like Lamar Jackson. They're kind of letting him run a college offense. And right now it's working. So can we really be upset about it? No. But we need to see him take that next step. We need to see him be able to play like this all season long.
Mhm.
And if they can do that, I think that they're probably one of the best teams in the NFC, and he's going to instantly be Rookie of the Year. Like, I think there's just his ceiling is incredibly, incredibly high, but I still think he has a Jameis Winston floor. I'm not going to lie to you.
I will say, through 5 games, I don't know if it's concerning is the right word, but it's a little underwhelming, I should say, based on their record and everything, that he only has 4 passing touchdowns. I mean, he has 4 rushing as well, but you'd think with how well the media is treating him and their record and what they've been doing to some of these teams, especially since they've had an easier schedule to start, based on what we know so far, that only 4 passing touchdowns is underwhelming, I guess, for a quarterback. But
He's
I don't think
gotten a
it's
lot in the red
anything.
zone. He's gotten a lot in the red zone. Then they rush. They have a lot of rushing
Right.
touchdowns too. And so, and he's also a rookie. I think
Yeah.
we're talking about. Of course, his offense is going to be easier. He's he's played 5 games in the NFL.
Mhm.
So like, it's got to be a little easier.
You compare that to, not to bring this up, but you compare this to like Caleb Williams in Chicago, where Chicago is just like, you're the number 1 overall quarterback. You better go out there and play like you're NFL ready immediately, and not giving him those easy plays, not giving him, stuff to build his confidence, and just kind of throwing him in there and saying, you're special, let's see it. You can't do that with a rookie quarterback. And I think it's showing that, Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and the folks in Washington are letting Jaden Daniels kind of find his own, and it's looking pretty good so far. I think Caleb Williams is making improvements, but if you just compare those first 4 games of the season, you can see how throwing a quarterback into the fire versus letting them kind of get confidence up and kind of explore their own offense is going to pay dividends. But like I said, I'm not gonna walk it back yet. I still believe that there's a pretty low floor there, high ceiling, incredibly high ceiling. Like we talked about, best rookie of this draft class, Rookie of the Year, possible MVP. Absolutely, that's his ceiling. I still think, from what I saw in college, like, it's undeniable. He just was not good at Arizona State. He had Brandon Ayuk kind of to carry him there, and then he transferred to LSU and kind of lived under Joe Burrow's shadow at LSU, and
Right.
nobody really thought that his gameplay was going to be able to translate. And the props I'll give to him is that he hasn't been taking massive hits every play, and he hasn't been throwing it into triple and double coverage a whole bunch. So, so far he's made the improvements that he needs to make. I just need to see some consistency from him at this point.
Yeah,
That's
and just
my
yeah, no,
command.
I'm with you, Snook. Now I'm not disagreeing with you, Snook. I mean, but going off of Mitch's point, I I mean, I just a few things with this that people just aren't picking up on. And again, this is just from a fan perspective, just seeing it over the years. Like number one, like Snook just alluded to, like we have a line that's blocking, which is huge. I
Hmm.
mean, we got a line that's blocking for him, giving him time. And I think the difference in that, like I was watching some clips with Sam Cosmi, who's our center, like not one of our guards. He's like, dude, he's like, it's just fun watching five. Like they're having fun on the line. Like they
Yeah,
want to block for him. They want to keep
Right.
him clean. They know like there's a guy back, and this is no knock to Kirk Cousins and Tyler Henneke, Henneke and all the rest that came through like before him, but they have a guy now. Like they know they got a guy, and I think that's what's missing the most is because like our line has been O line has been trash, and like that's been our bread and butter. Like Redskins football for you young boys, like the Hogs. I mean that's what it was. We always had the best O line in the league. So we're finally getting back to that. But also, Mitch, to your point about the touchdowns, I think what people need to realize is like we don't need to throw the rock like we did the past several years. Like
Right.
our offensive schemes were terrible. Like we just had to throw the rock. We were basically force feeding Terry to become like we got dogs in the backfield where we can hand the rock off
Of
30
course.
times a game. And I think that's like I get what you're saying, kind of underwhelming, but for me it's like I like what they're doing with him. They're slow progressing him. Yes,
Right.
whatever. You can call it a college offense all you want, but what these and like no, there's no knock on nobody here, but what I want people to appreciate is like you have a coaching staff that knows where his strengths are. Like
Yeah.
why throw him in? Like look at Caleb Williams, how he struggled this first couple of weeks. Like you're trying to get him to do stuff and like it's
Yeah.
making it simple. Verbiage is simple. Route concepts are simple. Like the quick fire. Like this man is getting the ball out of his hands quicker than anybody in the league. Like 2.1 seconds. Like I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like that's quicker than Tom Brady ever did. We want to talk about the goats out here. Like even current quarterbacks, like the man gets the ball out quick. And like his decision making is off the charts. And like with that, like, and that's where I think what I said, like the 5 years of college, like that, and then I know like he transferred
It,
in and stuff, but that five
it,
years I think really is translating to the league and like his maturity and
right.
whatnot.
As I was just about to say that those 5 years definitely helped him like mature as a player, work under different offenses, against different defenses. Like how we said with some of these quarterbacks now, they play 2 years and then come into the league and they're not as good as we think they are in college. So I mean, him having those extra years probably benefited him way more. Um, I hope it continues to work for him long term, but
Yeah.
um,
And I think
They've got
like a key
13,
thing,
by the
not
way. They got 13 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, they
13,
definitely
yeah,
have a lot more rushing. Yeah, they have a
for
crazy
sure.
amount of rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. And I think like going back to the point there, Mitch, like, and going to like defenses and stuff, I go back to that Bengals clip that Brandon showed us on that Terry touchdown. Like, for a rookie to pick up a cover zero, like
mhm,
that's hard, man. Like, and again, if you guys don't know what cover zero is, for those watching, like cover zero, you got no help, full blitz, and there's no nothing up top and over top to protect you. Like for a rookie to pick that up in week 3 on the road in Cincinnati against Joe Cool, like that's
yep,
right.
huge, man. Like that throw, like that sequence, that series there was just balls on him. Like not to be sorry for my language, but like that took some cojones for him to make that throw and just to pick up that cover zero. Like just to said in the post
Yeah.
game, like, hey, I saw cover zero. Terry said, "Give me the rock." He threw it up. Rookies struggle with that stuff, man, because
mhm,
transition from college defense to pro defense is so different. And to pick up a cover
it's-
zero, straight knowing you're going to get like he knew he was going to get blasted, like he knew it, and to put that ball on a dime, I think that's where like it's different. Like it's so different. Like we haven't seen this in a minute. Like no, not like I'm not knocking Caleb Williams, but I mean it's just I think when you get
it's
the right coaches, you get the right coaches around you
mhm,
and help your development. Because I think the key here is development. I know it's week 5. I get what Snook is saying, like, hey, let's not pump the brakes. And I'm the same way. I like what I see so far. Let's see if they can sustain that to the bye week. Because again, but NFL, Roger Goodell, why you keep giving us these freaking week 14 buys, boss? That's 3 years in a row, homie. you got us playing all these games, and I think like, and that's where I'm with you, Snook, because I want to see if the physicality of the game catches up to them when you don't have a bye week until that late in the season.
Mhm.
Because as you know, I mean, some like the Eagles, just a couple guys had these early bye weeks. You saw what happened to the Eagles last year. I mean, they was out here cooking and then they faltered. So I'm with
Right.
Snook on it. I'm not going to say Jameis Winston floor. I ain't going to say all that. He ain't that bad, man. I
I like
mean,
that is not an insult. Jameis Winston's not an insult. I love Jameis Winston.
exactly. No, I'm with you. I know. That's the first I heard that, though. I ain't going to lie to you. That's the first I heard that take, though, on the floor. But no,
Mm.
I think he's a real deal. I think we just got to respect what he's doing and respect what the coaches are doing, really. So I think they're developing in the right way. And I like what I hear about, like, they're saying, like, I just saw something yesterday. Bobby Wagner's like, yeah, this man's in the off, like, he's in the building at 4 a.m. He's here before me and the coaches. Like, come on, a rookie, like, in the building at 4, my first one in, last one out. I
Yeah.
mean, that shows you what he's about, and I think it shows there when they play and just the energy, the excitement. Like, and this man, and again, going back to the Bengals game, when I forget what I think they had that dump down, it was like a draw or handoff, whatever, didn't get any yardage, and my man's looking at Cliff like, run, like, give me the play. Like, my man's already there, like, I want the play, let's go.
Right.
I mean, for a rookie to do that 3 weeks in, you ain't seen. I mean, I never saw that. I never saw that with Lamar. I never saw that with Josh. Like, I never saw that with these big dudes. Like,
He
not
looks
trying to knock him,
excited
but
with
you
that
never saw that.
technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you never saw that. Like, for him to get that quick, I think that's where it's different, and that's where, like, for us as Redskins and Commanders fans, like, Washington fans, we have hope because we finally got somebody back there that we like. All right, we got something going. So
Mhm.
All right. Do we want to get into just touch on some of these other questions that we've got here?
Yeah, sure.
This
I can
offseason,
transition quick because I know we brought up Bobby Wagner quite a bit and Frankie Louvu. Going into stuff that we may have missed in the offseason, I think acquiring those two guys really, really helped boost their defense. Um, I mean, Bobby Wagner comes in with a ton of experience at Seattle. Seattle was known for their defense for a long, long time there, and he was with them during that Super Bowl run. So I mean, Bobby Wagner just having that knowledge and uh, ball experience, basically.
Ball
Thanks.
nice.
Basically, that game experience on how to read the offense and how to help teach these younger guys that are coming in, and having that experience there is definitely going to help. I think Washington in the coming future, like, continue to have a hopefully growing defense, basically.
yeah, I
wasn't
agree with that, man.
what
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
was Bobby Wagner a free agent, right? Like, he was on no team, right? He was like going to be
Yeah,
done in the league.
he was with
They-
the Rams. Yeah, he was with the Rams last year, and he was a free agent. And
Yeah.
DQ
Okay.
got him to come
Yeah.
back. So
Yeah. That's
and I
good. It
think,
resurrected his career.
yeah, and I think what's great about that, like on the Mitch's point, is not. I mean, Bobby, like, Bobby's a professional. He's a pro. But, like, this is a guy who. I mean, I don't know if the man missed a game like through his career. He may have missed one or two. I know he had a streak going for a minute where he had like consecutive games started and whatnot. But I think like some of the other, like, we're talking about underrated, like some of the other pickups or like moves they made was just really kind of like on our like the D ends that we ended up picking up, like, signing that many people aren't talking about. That aren't like big names, but they're making a
Mhm.
difference. And Eric DQ bringing in his Dallas guys. You brought in Armstrong, a couple other guys. I forget the one corner like we signed. I can't think. I'm blanking on his name right now, but we had some secondary help there as well. And offensively, I mean, come on. I mean, DQ got his guys from Atlanta, Dallas, the cases. Like, come on, bro. Like, no one's talking about him. He's not doing much, but it's just the little things with that. That signing, like I said, McNichols, as I mentioned earlier, is a huge underrated signing that people aren't picking up on. And even like the draft class, like you get McCaffrey's, bro, like that
Mhm.
late in the draft, like that was a steal in my opinion. Like, that kid's a
Yep.
Swiss Army knife. And I think, again, developing him, he's going to be big for us as a receiver because that was the one thing we didn't have much of. Like, we let a couple guys go, but you look at last year, it was T Mac and it was De'Ami Brown. And really, I mean, you had Dots in there, but let's all be honest, bro, that he didn't do much for us, and that's why we kind of let him slide on that trade and whatnot. But I think a lot of underrated stuff there. But I'm gonna go back to what I said in the beginning. I think coaching higher is what is the most underrated thing that no one's talking about. Like just
Mhm.
taking their time when they didn't get their guy, quote unquote, on Ben Johnson, which I really didn't know if they really wanted him. I think he was the hot commodity because of the offense. But just them taking their time, like, Redskins in the past, we get the biggest name out there. Snyder wants to Bill Belichick. Like, we would have signed Bill Belichick right off the jump if Snyder was still hired. Like,
Mhm.
the fact that they took their time, and that's really what I want to reiterate that was like the coaching hire, because you got a guy in there that had great recommendations. You saw what he did with the defense in Dallas. DQ took his time. He had opportunities. He passed up on Seattle again. He passed on a couple other jobs. He passed up on the Falcons. So I think that's really what's not talked about. That needs to be talked about the most, like us and who we hired. Like AP did a great job. Adam Peters and Josh Harris, like taking their time and like getting the right guys in the building and changing that culture. And I mean, that for me is the most like underrated thing that no one needs. Like people need to talk more about that. Like
Right. I feel like this
DQ
season,
man.
it's based on the start so far, everyone's just focusing on Jaden Daniels and Scary
Mm-hmm.
Terry and making those hot plays that everyone likes to talk about and all that sort of stuff. But the team, or I should say, the media is overshadowing the whole team. But I also feel like even before the season, during the rookie draft and leading up to preseason and everything, like all the big name, Marv and Caleb Williams and Malik Neighbors and all those big names like overshadowed the team as a whole. And I mean, I'm sure it was different being down near Washington and like for the fan base itself, but I really didn't hear too much of like how the Commanders were going to do this year. Like, I mean, they were overshadowed for a lot of the bigger name teams and bigger name players. So definitely putting some name recognition out there for the guys that are showing off now is definitely good.
For sure.
Touch on
Okay.
that
By the way,
again. That would be
it's
solid.
up to 6.5. It's up to 6.5
No,
now.
it went up to 6.5 now. I'm still taking it though. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still taking it.
I already did. I already did. You're getting a 6.5 cushion for Commanders. I'll
Oh
take
yeah,
that all day.
yeah.
You're
But
getting almost
damn well Saturday night that shit's gonna drop to like 4.5.
Yeah,
You already know.
yeah.
Mhm.
You already
Definitely good
know.
to get it now. I'm getting it now. Yeah, for sure. So what do we think? What do we think the ceiling and floor? You already know my ceiling for the Commanders. It's 14-3.
Thank you, Dylan. I respect. Thank you.
Hey,
Dylan,
nope. But
do you
yeah,
think that's still going to be like a realistic prediction? Like I know, looking back, you made that in error in a sense. But I
yeah.
mean, like looking back at it now, do you think it's still realistic, or is it still like
No, I would go 12-5 is probably the ceiling if I had to guess. Maybe 13 wins, 13-4. More
Mhm.
likely 12-5 if I had to guess, but 12-5 seems about right. I mean, I really did think their team was much better when I first said it, but now like going through and seeing it, like they are actually pretty good. My biggest blunder was thinking they had Brian Thomas and somehow in the draft, which I'll tell you what, if they had Brian Thomas too, holy fuck, dude, this team would be nasty with it. It'd be nasty. But yeah, no, I'm thinking more like 12-5. I can see them just because they are a little bit young on the offensive side. I'll see. Jane Daniels will probably slip up a couple games here. That's just he's a rookie. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm thinking 12-5 for me.
Yeah, I kind of think similar. I was going to say like 11-6 in terms of their ceiling, but I think their ceiling could also be a divisional or even an NFC championship game. I think, like I said before, I wasn't kidding. I think their ceiling is nuts. I think Jaden Daniels' ceiling is pretty high, but they're still the Commanders. It's still Jaden Daniels. I think their floor is still pretty low too. I mean, you could tell me, they're 4-1 right now. You could tell me that they're going to go, 7-10, and I'd be like, yeah, I mean, sure. So high ceiling, low floor, but I think, like I said, for next week, ask me next week. I'll be pretty confident in where they're going to end up. I'd say, but
Just real
yeah.
quick, do we think they're basically the Packers of the NFC this year? How they kind of like came on, no one really thought much about them, and then boom, they made it to such like a deep NFC run
Well,
there. Like no one really talked about them. But
I'm gonna
Yeah.
put on. I'm gonna say they're They're Houston of last year. They're the Texans of last year.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah, I was
better.
trying to stay on the NFC side, but yeah, because there was the
sorry,
on the AFC side, yeah, it was the Texans, and on the NFC side, it was the Packers. So they were the teams that no one had in going to the playoffs originally. So, but yeah, obviously more likely the blueprint of the Texans.
Yo, real quick though, with Dylan being so hype on the Commanders, I just want to pull up some shit real quick of Dylan immediately walking back his Commanders take. There we go.
Because
I don't know what I was so with convicted. The Commanders. I have no idea. That is insane to me. I don't know what I was even thinking. When I was clicking down through there, I was like, yeah, dude, Commanders, I'm all for them this year. And then when you said that and I looked at their depth chart, I was like, holy this is terrible.
Yeah.
This is
But
terrible.
when we did our pick'ems, I was like, yeah, I feel like the Commanders will be fine. Like, they're going to be good. And then when I said that, Brian was like, have you seen their depth chart? And I was like, no, not really. And he's like, yeah, it's not great. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Because you were talking about the WRs, you're like, oh, they got Terry McLaurin and Brian.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure their WR2 right now is Alameda Zacchaeus.
Yeah, and then you're like, they got Luke McCaffrey, and I was like, oh, wait, really? Yeah, that's why I said in my video last week, I was like, I walked into that take, but now I have to ride with it because it was so fucking wild.
And you know what? What if you have to ride with it? Because it's gonna look immaculate, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Mitch said that too. Mitch even was like, yo, what happens if they actually do good? And I was like, well, I'm going to ride this take now and ride it to the grave.
Wild.
Ceiling and floor. I don't think we heard from Mitch or Terrence.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, one of my hot takes was that the Commanders are going to win the NFC, like be the number one team, at least in the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the championship game, but I could see them being like the number one seeded team, even if they do slip up and lose 2-3 games here and end with 3 losses, like a 14-3 or 13-14 maybe. But I think that is about their ceiling. I don't know. I don't know that they'll win out. I mean, I don't think that's likely.
So the question here then, and maybe Terrence's answer will get us here, but the question is, none of us have had the cojones to say that the ceiling is a Super Bowl. So is this team a Super Bowl ready team through 5 weeks? That's the question I want everyone to answer.
Super Bowl ready or Super Bowl winner?
It does not matter. You think they're a Super Bowl team? Nobody will even commit to them being in the Super Bowl. We think that is
historically look at rookies making it to the Super Bowl. Like how often does that really happen? Like I just feel like you can't go against history and be like, oh, yep, Jaden Daniels, he's the one who's going to do it, and Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn. Like that's the group that I'm picking on, baby. Like I don't know. I think NFC. I think they can make second round. Yeah, I'll go NFC Championship. Yeah, I'll go NFC Championship. Them versus the Lions.
Okay.
That'll be my take. NFC Championship, Lions, Commanders.
Yeah, and I saw Mitch. You were shaking your head. No, this is not a Super Bowl roster. I
don't think it's tough to say. I mean, if they made it to the Super Bowl, I don't know that I would be entirely surprised based on how they're playing right now. But I don't think they have that long-term momentum basically to continue playing at this level right now with Jaden Daniels and their current wide receiver core. I don't know if the but some of their older defensive guys can continue to keep up with pace. Like Terrence said, they have like week 14 bye or something. So it'll be interesting if they can keep that up until then. So I think they'll do well in the playoffs. I definitely think they're going to make it. I just don't know if a Super Bowl is in the cards this year.
I will say, though, NFC this year, there doesn't, even in the NFL in general, I don't think there's really a clear team that's like kicking the shit out of teams. Like last year, the 49ers were just straight waxing everyone. Mm-hmm. Now, even the Chiefs have squeaked by in all their wins. The Vikings, once again, they squeaked by back-to-back weeks. So there's no team that's like just killing everyone. I mean, if there's going to be a year, this seems to be a at least in the NFC, a wide open year where like we have no idea. Vikings are good, but so are the Commanders, and I'm sure the Niners will end up being there and piss me off as normal. And some of those other teams. So like I think they could make a deep run. Lions, same thing. Like they've looked good, but they've also looked really bad randomly. So like NFC, this could be a year to do that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Terrence?
So I like what you all were saying, but I'm gonna read off what the remaining schedule is real quick. So they're in Baltimore this coming week, and they host the Panthers, host the Bears, at the Giants, host the Steelers, in Philly, host the Cowgirls, host the Titans, bye week, in NOLA, host the Eagles, host the Falcons, at the Cowgirls. So like I'm with Dylan and Snook really. Like I see 12, to be honest, looking at the schedule. I can't see 13 just because I gotta give credit. You gotta give credit to Dallas and Philly. I mean, they're still two tough teams, no matter what they look like. But I think this game this Sunday is really gonna be like, hey, is this team for real, or are they just riding a high right now? But I can see 12. But like I look, boys, I would love to say they're a Super Bowl team, but we're not. I mean, if we get there, wow, wow. But we're not there yet, dude. I think ceiling for them is obviously, and I hate to say this as a fan, but it's been I mean, we've been dreading this for 20. Like making the playoffs is like, let's go. Like we made the playoffs. Like that's our ceiling. I hate to say it, but us just being in the playoffs, then anything more than that for us as fans is like, wow, like we're ahead of schedule. But I can see them making an NFC championship. Like, I just don't see the NFC being as formidable as it was last year. Like Dallas doesn't look as dominant. The Niners definitely don't. The Rams are down. The Eagles don't look good. So like I'm with Dill. Like the Commanders could be them dudes this year that like no one's really talking about. But I can't see a Super Bowl. If they were to make it, I think it's one of those Cinderella, Disney Plus movies they're gonna make about the Commanders and the ownership. Like, come on, boys, think about it. Like new ownership,
Right.
rookie quarterback, they make the Super Bowl. Like, but I think like playoffs. I don't know. Like I'm still not sold on the division. I just think Philly and Dallas still are just too tough. Like we just haven't proven ourselves yet. I mean, if they and Mitch, I'm not saying your take is bad. I think they could end up being a 1 seed, but I just think when we get to that game against Philly, I mean, really, honestly, let me take that back. November 3rd against the Giants. If we can sweep the Giants, I'll feel a lot more comfortable with that.
Well,
that is in the Meadowlands.
When you were reading off the schedule there, their back half of the schedule looks way harder. Like, I mean, not that they're unwinnable games, but I mean, you have a lot of, tougher games back to back to back. Like there's really no like easy game in between those or anything like that. So
no, and I think like honestly, boys, look after our bye week, those last 4 weeks, like if the NFC South, like we talked about, plays out like it did, like you have to go to NOLA, come back and host Philly, then host Captain Kirk if they're still hot, and then you got to go to Dallas. Like those last 4 games, like straight up, that could be a 1 seed, a 4 seed, a 5 seed, or 7 seed. I would say the Saints will be in contention. Philly should be, but who knows? I think the Falcons. I think that we didn't talk about it, but the Falcons is a sleeper. My wife hates hearing it because she's a Saints fan, but I think the Falcons could be a sleeper. Then obviously Dallas. So like it's not like you said, Mitch. It's not an easy back half schedule. But if we can get through Baltimore and actually play well, even if we lose, so much, I feel a lot more comfortable with the rest of our schedule. Like I said, you still have you look at the defenses that we got to play yet. Like Chicago's defense is a top 5 defense. I know their offense isn't great, but at the top 5 defense, the Steelers are the top 5 defense. Dallas usually is. Philly usually is. Tennessee, I mean, I don't know. It's Tennessee. But then like usually the Saints and even the Falcons this year. So I'm not going to sit here and I can see like Dylan said they end up 7-10 or something crazy like that. But I think if they can get through Baltimore, and I would say, and this would be great for you Steelers fans, if they can get to that Steelers game sitting, was that 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-1, and they can beat the Steelers. I mean, I think we got to start talking about like, hey, the Commanders might be that team, a Super Bowl contender. I mean, that might be that team.
No, you'll beat the Steelers.
Well, I wanted to chime in there.
I don't think so.
Chime in there about the Eagles when they play them. Sirianni's still there, I'm sure Brian's gonna guarantee those locks for the Commanders.
Oh yeah, that's true. Seriously, I don't think he'll be there, to be honest.
Hey, you're gonna need a place to sleep that week, Terrence. When they play the Saints, are you gonna need somewhere to sleep that week, or what?
No, so I mean, I'm gonna drop it on the podcast, but that's my wife and I's anniversary this year. We're going to NOLA.
Ooh,
we'll be in the Dome, boy. We'll be at the Dome, boys, for that game. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
Wow,
dude, that's sick. That's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah, my wife lived in Newark. She was in there for 10 years, so she lived down there. So this is our 4th year anniversary coming up here. We just had it in September, so we decided to splurge and go down to the game. I've never been to the Dome, so I was like, "Hey, Commanders are going to the Dome. It's week 14, December. Worked around my basketball schedule, so I'm able to fit it in. So we're pretty excited. I'm stoked because I'm hoping that time Commanders are still relevant, and so are the Saints, and it's actually going to be a good game that they're playing for something, not one of those like week 15, like, oh, my team's cracked, I'm putting in the backups and shit like that. So.
Because hey, man, when you bought those tickets, I'm sure it was up in the air whether that would be true or not, right? Saints and
I mean, funny story. We haven't even bought the tickets yet, so we already have it planned. Like we're staying like 4 days. So my wife has them. She has got some connects, obviously, living down there for a while. So we're gonna try to get tickets the week of or whatnot. Like we're not really worried about like getting tickets early. We're going to the Dome regardless. And actually, for you boys that don't know, the Superdome, they actually say the better seats are actually up top than down low because how the dome is set. You actually get a better view up top, which the tickets up there are usually around like between $60-$80. So we're just waiting until closer to the game and see what happens. The Dome is huge. Like it's going to sell out, so we're not really concerned.
It's actually a great segue to our sponsor, Seat Geek. Seat Geek, you can sponsor us for seat tickets. Thanks. Just reach out to Seat Geek. I don't even know what the ones are now. What's that one everyone talks about now? The
Ticketmaster.
Game time.
Game time. That's the one everyone talks about. Oh yeah. Yeah, our sponsor, Game Time, to get your seat. So thank you guys. Thanks.
Well,
we want to get into our upset? Hey, fuck yeah, I beat you to it, bitch.
Go ahead. Go ahead, don't do it again.
Mitch, would you like to start out by getting us into our upsets and locks of the week, sir?
First,
I would love to.
Sorry. Holy shit, we gotta do this, guys. We gotta be able to.
Explain. Yeah.
So just let's start with that. So right here. All right, guys, we're going to transition into our upsets and locks. So every week, each of us picks one game that we think is going to be an upset and one game that we think is going to be a lock. Mitch, would you lead us off?
I would love to. So for my upset of the week, I have the Giants over the Bengals. I don't know that it's like that bad of an upset, but I mean, the Bengals have that opportunity to play really well, and we saw that these past couple weeks, but they also have that opportunity to play bad. I think the Bengals are going to have a better showing than some of their other games, but I think the Giants might be able to pull off a win here. I don't know why. I'm just feeling confident that the Bengals are going to slip up in certain key moments of the game, and just Giants are going to take advantage of that. And then my lock for the week, I'm going to pick the Chargers over the Broncos. I know it's a divisional game, but I've sort of liked how the Chargers have been playing recently. Not too impressed with the Broncos. So I think it's somewhat of a safer pick here.
Okay. All right, Dylan?
All right. I like it. I might be revisiting the same game here in a little bit. So I was really looking for the upsets, but I really want to be right that the Patriots don't win another game so I can rub it in your face later on. But I do think they'll win one. Hey, but I'll tell you what, we're on the right track. Mitch and I were on the right track with one win. I don't think they get more than 2 or 3. Patriots suck. But I'm going to call a hot upset here. I think the Patriots upset the Texans. I think the last 2 weeks, the Texans they've won. I think they won last week, or they might have lost the week before, but they've been tight. Their games have been tight. I don't know with Nico Collins. He got hurt, which really sucked for me in fantasy, but I don't know if he's going to be back. They rely heavily on him. They might be fine. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going to call Patriots upset the Texans. And then actually my lock of the week will be the complete same game as Mitch's, but I think the Broncos will beat the Chargers. That is my lock, and I think it's a very easy pick the other way because the Chargers have not looked good, but the Broncos have looked much better over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm going to go. It's a lock Broncos over Chargers.
Nice. Yeah, Nico Collins. I don't know if you watched the game, but when Nico Collins went out, that Texans offense got very cold, very fast, and they were very get away with a win against the Bills there this week. All right, I'm going to go to my upsets and locks, and then we'll take it to Terrence and then sign off here. So my upset of the week, I'm going off of Vegas odds here, but I got the Saints. I think the Buccaneers have proven through the past 5 weeks that they are the number 1 seed in the NFC South. Mayfield has been playing really, really well. So I just think the Saints.
Earlier, do you actually think when he was doing good, I was for
Okay.
Whose background noise is that?
Is that me? Hold on, let me mute.
1 second. I'll take it from the top. Right. Sorry about that, Brandon. Sorry. All right, so yeah, I'm going to get to my upsets and locks, and then I'm going to take it over to Terrence, and we'll sign off from there. So my upset, going off of the Vegas odds, I got the Buccaneers upsetting the Saints. I think the Buccaneers are the Saints, are 2-point favorites against the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers have proven, though, that they are the number 1 seed in the NFC South. I think Baker Mayfield somehow is aging like fine wine. I think I'm liking him more every season. I think he's playing better every season.
That's right.
And like me and Mitch talked about last week, the Buccaneers have picked up right where they left off. I think that makes them a playoff team. And I think the Saints have been looking really weak. Maybe they try and take them out here at home, but I think the Buccaneers get it done. I think they're the better team right now. And then if I had to call a lock, I will unfortunately, because it goes against a lot of my personal bias, I will be locking the Eagles against the Browns. Dude, the Browns, I'm sorry, man.
They suck.
They might be one of the worst 2 teams in football. Like, it's close. Deshaun Watson, again, this is another take we talked about. Deshaun Watson might be the worst quarterback in the NFL, just morally, and also how he plays. He just might be the worst guy in the entire league. So, unfortunately, I think that the Eagles and Nick Sirianni kind of get a nice, restful post-bye week clobbering of the Browns in here at home. So that is my upsets and locks. Terrence, do you have an upset, a lock that you would like to share?
Yes, I do. So I don't know how much of a upset this is, but looking at the line that Dylan put out, you already know who I'm sticking with. I'm taking my Commanders over the Ravens. Because I get the record. Commanders are 4-1. The Ravens are 3-2. Snooky, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah, 3-2. So, I mean, again, record-wise, you would say, but I'm taking the Commanders just because I don't think anybody's really giving us a puncher's chance because of the Ravens, and respectfully so, they're a good team.
Yeah.
But that's going to be my upset, and then my lock, which you guys are going to be like, what is Green doing here? I'm going to NFC South. I'm going Carolina over Atlanta.
That's the lock. Whoa.
Hear me out here, boys. Now, hey, I know Red Rocket didn't have a good game this past week, but Carolina always plays division opponents tough, man. That NFC South is tough. And I know Kirk Cousins coming off the high and that overtime win, but I'm telling you something, man. It's just something about playing in Carolina, coming off that high and that NFC South matchup. So that was going to be my upset, but I had to go with my Commanders. But I'm telling you, I feel like the Panthers might, upset some people there with the Falcons.
Yeah, that was almost my upset pick. Like I said, I'm not very high on Kirk Cousins this year, so I definitely thought about it. Not mad at locking it, kind of crazy, but
right.
Yeah, that's right, boys. That's right.
This is the school of hot takes. You're gonna get some hot takes. That's for damn sure.
Love it.
All right, who's signing us off?
Mitchell Oberdorf.
All right, Mitch.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode. We had some great discussion on the Commanders, some other hot takes that I'm sure are going to age really, really well. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, check out our TikTok, check out our YouTube. We got some videos, shorts. Check out our other episodes, and thank you to everyone listening. See you later.
Class dismissed.